Hi, I'm Claire Hogan. Apart from working at Steely, I'm also a junior at W&M Mary studying computational math, so you can imagine how excited I was to get to interview Professor Dana Willner of the Computer Science Department. Professor Willner teaches introductory computer science, and as somebody who has to take a lot of computer science classes for my major, I understand how difficult that very first computer science class can be. Professor Willner was nice enough to hop on a Zoom and talk about how she approaches teaching during a pandemic.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So how did you get into teaching?
Well, my mother is a teacher, so I grew up around teaching, and I've always had an interest in teaching. As an undergrad, I had part-time jobs as a TA. When I was doing my master's, I actually had a teaching fellowship, and that's sort of how I paid for graduate school. There was teaching in my PhD. I had a teaching fellowship during my postdoc. It's just been something that I have always loved and have always pursued.
Given the current stressful environment of the pandemic, how do you find joy in teaching these days?
So there's a lot of joy in teaching. I think even though we can't be in person, just being able to interact whichever way we can is wonderful. It's particularly joyous for me when students come to me with applications of our course material to other things that we're doing. So I've had this in both of my classes where they're doing work in another class. I said, oh my gosh, we learned how to program this. I wrote my own program to do it. It saved me so much time on my lab report. That's fantastic. That's, that applicability and really having confidence in the skills you have and being able to use them in your own research or other classes. That for me is amazing. I love to hear that. There's also still a lot of joy in having those one-on-one interactions where someone is very confused and frustrated. Not that I want them to be frustrated, but working through it, and at the end they're like, I get it. This is great. I can keep going. Having meaningful work to do is good for me. It's just very joyous to have the work and do it, and know that I'm contributing to something.
So switching gears a little bit about you. So what do you do when you're not recording videos, when you're not, in office hours? What do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?
I write course content. No, I'm kidding. But it is fun. So I am a very low-tech individual. I like to cross-stitch, and I like to garden. I like to run, and I go for a lot of bike rides with my best friend. Fortunately, since I returned to the area, we live very close to each other, so we can ride our bikes all over town, which is very nice when the weather's nice.
That's lovely. So you said you're low tech, and yet you're a computer science professor. So how do those things mesh? How does that work out?
It's very strange. I recently got a smartphone not that long ago. I now have a car with automatic door locks, which is good. So I'm not sure. I think we need technology for certain things we do. I don't want technology to take over my life, and I still have a lot of appreciation for doing some things without the benefit of technology. But at the same time, I am completely just amazed and intrigued by all the things that we can do. So that's, some of the excitement I'm talking about of I want to teach you all the content comes from that. But yeah, it's interesting to reconcile those two things. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, especially because you're sort of teaching online this semester, and yet you have this preference for the analog. How is that working out for you? Have you had to sort of change your mindset on that?
It's nice in a way because, I read paper books. My husband always jokes with me. He's like, what is that thing you're holding? Because he has a Kindle. Haha. But it's nice because we're all spending so much time in front of screens right now. So having some things to do that don't involve a screen, it's really a nice break all around. Certainly for just the, sitting and staring, but it's just nice to have something that gets me away from the computer a little bit.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. It was really wonderful to have the opportunity.
So I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into how Professor Willner approaches teaching during COVID-19. I had a really good time during the conversation, and I hope you did too.